What's going on, you guys? Literally, I would say about a minute or two ago, Paradox published a tweet, right, that linked to this video for Crusader Kings 3. And it says, game director Henrik, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the last name, my apologies for that, lays out his vision for CK3. For more details, you can read our in-depth blog post. Who wants to read? Let's watch.
I'm Henrik Freius, game director of Crusader Kings 3. I love making games because I love playing games. I've played games since I was 10, I think, on my Sinclair Spectrum 48. The Crusader Kings series of games is a grand strategy type of game set in medieval times. It's an open-ended sandbox ruler simulation inspired by both games like The Sims and the Song of Ice and Fire novels. In Crusader Kings, you play a series of characters. It's a game about bloodlines and dynasties fighting each other more than nations. So over hundreds of years, you will play your line, the gallery of rulers of your house or your dynasty. Crusader Kings 2 was an indie game sort of thing. It feels like an indie game even if it really wasn't. And Crusader Kings 3, should feel like a more modern game. It should feel contemporary with all the resources that Paradox can bring to it. CK3 is a much, much bigger game on the release than CK2 was. If the second game proved the mechanics, Crusader Kings 3 makes them smooth and functional. It's a friendlier, a more approachable experience than Crusader Kings 2 could ever be. But more importantly, I think, more usable. So, even veteran players will have an easier time using the features and the interfaces we have in the game. It's beautiful to look at. We also focus on making the game deeper and stronger in the areas that players appreciate the most. And one of those areas is, of course, the characters, how they look, how they act, how you feel about them. We tried to build in characters into every system in the game, even if they didn't exist there in CK2, like the technology system or the combat mechanics and so on. And that's because we really want to strengthen that role-playing feel to it. Whenever you make a game, it's a huge leap of faith. And especially for our games, they require so many features, so many cogs and gears to fit together like clockwork. They don't become fun until at the very, very end. I think Crusader Kings 3 is the most polished version I can make of the Crusader Kings games, and it's very rewarding to see people being so enthusiastic and happy about where we are right now. The final payoff is the player reactions. When people start saying that they actually like this game or love it, there is few things to compare to that feeling when you've actually succeeded.
All right, so a couple things I took away from this. First thing is that the game Crusader Kings was inspired by The Sims. I would have never have thought that. The second thing is that they're saying that Crusader Kings 3 is going to be bigger than Crusader Kings 2. I'm assuming the vanilla game at launch. So what I'm expecting is, it's not going to be basically Crusader Kings 2 vanilla, just with updated graphics, some new mechanics. It's going to be a larger game, is maybe encompassing some of the mechanics that the expansion packs had, and maybe some new ones on top of that. So that's really good. I like that. And then the third thing, which I had a feeling they were going to do, which is make the game simpler and easier to get into. Now, I know this is going to be like a tug of war. You have some old diehards like me that love the complexity, right, of Paradox games. But then you got some other people, right, who love complexity but feel the game was a little bit too much to get into. A good example is my one of my buddies, right? He is a heavy Stellaris fan, right? And he gets into heavy into even board games. Like World in Flames is one of his favorite all-time games. Like if he was on a desert island, could only bring one thing, that's that, right? Forget about anything else. Food, water, he'll bring World in Flames, right? So, World in Flames, if you guys are not familiar, it's a very complex game. There's a lot of rules into it, but he loves that, right? So he's not one person that shies away from complexity. But I feel like, when I talked to him about Crusader Kings 2, he's just like, yeah, I couldn't get into the game. There was just so many different things that I couldn't understand it fully. So I just didn't have the time to invest into it. So he got into EU4 instead. So by them opening this game up a little bit, in terms of easier to get into, they're going to open up that audience, which is something they definitely want to do. One, because, well, they want increased sales, right? Everybody wants increased sales. But two, to grow the community of Crusader Kings, take that community of Crusader Kings 2 and then grow it, flourish that community even more. So I just hope that we don't lose anybody in the Crusader Kings 2 community, because those guys made some incredible mods from what I hear, some incredible maps, all that good stuff. So let's hope we can keep both. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this. I did. I am really looking forward to this game. I saw at the end here it has a 2020 release. That's going to be awesome. I think Crusader Kings 3 is going the right way. I am much more relieved that's going to be a little bit more open, a little bit more easier to get into, because just like my buddy, I had that kind of hesitation trying to understand all the mechanics. And with today's world, we really don't have the time to spend hours and hours and hours trying to get used to playing the game. A lot of us just want to spend maybe half hour to an hour to get used to the mechanics and then just grind right into what we want to get into, right? All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy this. Catch you guys in the next one.